your kids to do better than you, and I want you to do better than your parents. I want to see the American dream go forward, not backwards.
We join the event already in progress. This is courtesy of Fox 10 Phoenix and Bill Luke Ram. Thank you guys so much.
Another truth. It's a harsh truth. But what this campaign is about is talking about the realities of America, because we cannot go forward unless we lay the real issues on the table. By and large, the media will not talk about the real issues. And you and I have to. And here's another real issue. In America today, we have a broken criminal justice system. And I want you all to think about this. And what this campaign is about is thinking outside of the box. Don't think status quo. Think about what really goes on and where we can go as a nation if we are prepared to stand up and fight. Now, what a broken criminal justice system means is that today we have in America more people in jail than any other country on earth. We are spending $80 billion a year to lock Americans up, and disproportionately the people in jail are African American, Latino, and Native American. Now, right now, just as an example, real unemployment for young people between 17 and 20 who graduated high school is 33% if they're white, 36% if they're Latino, 51% if they are African American. So you want a radical idea? We are going to invest in jobs and education, not jails. And incarceration. I want our young people to be working or studying, not seeing their lives destroyed in jail. And when we talk about criminal justice reform, we've got to be talking about reforming police departments all over this country. Now, I was a mayor for 8 years, and I've worked closely with police. And the vast majority of police are honest, hardworking, and they have an enormously difficult job. But all of us, whether we're black or white or Latino, are tired of seeing videos on TV when unarmed people are being killed by police. And that is why a police officer who breaks the law, like any public official, must be held accountable. We need to end the militarization of police departments all over this country. Police departments should not look like occupying armies. They should be part of the community they serve. We need to make police departments look like the diversity of the communities they serve. We need to understand when we talk about criminal justice reform that drug addiction, alcohol, substance abuse, these are not criminal issues, they are mental health issues. And we need to fundamentally rethink the war on drugs. Now, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana and heroin are considered Schedule I drugs. I think that is dumb. All of you know, and I pray that you do know, that heroin is a killer drug. And in my state and all over this country, we are seeing an epidemic of drug overdose on heroin and opiates, and I hope every one of you stays away from those killer drugs. But the truth is, you can argue the pluses and minuses of marijuana, but nobody thinks that marijuana is equivalent to heroin. And that is why I've introduced legislation to take marijuana out of the Federal Controlled Substance Act. Millions of Americans now have police records because of possession of marijuana, and lives have been ruined. Now, states make the decisions, not the federal government, regarding legalization of marijuana, but possession should not be a federal crime. And when you look at the issue of marijuana, it becomes laden with racial overtones, because it turns out that whites and blacks do marijuana at about the same rate, but blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested than whites. That's wrong. Now, this campaign has been doing really well in the last number of months. When we began, we were at about 3% in the polls. We're about 60, 70 points behind Secretary Clinton. As of today, we have already won 9 states. And we just pulled off a major upset in Michigan the other day. And on Tuesday, we got 5 states coming up, including Florida. If you guys come out to vote, we're going to pull off an upset here as well. Now, this campaign has been doing well because we are listening to the American people and not just wealthy campaign contributors. And what the American people are telling us as we go around the country and we talk to workers is that workers cannot make it on $9 or $10 an hour. They believe And I believe that the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour is a starvation wage. It's got to be raised to a living wage. And that living wage should be $15 an hour. And when we talk about equitable wages, I hope every man here today will stand with the women in the fight for pay equity for women workers. Women in America should not be making 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. That's old-fashioned sexism. We're going to change that. This campaign is listening to the men and women who have put their lives on the line to defend us, veterans who demand decent health care and decent benefits, and we're going to give it to them. This campaign is listening to young people. What I hear from young people is, why is it that they've got to leave school, leave college, leave graduate school, $50,000 or $100,000 in debt? Throughout our lives, people say, get all of the education that you can. It's good for you, it's good for your country, and that is right. People should not be punished for getting the education that they need. They should be rewarded. Today in America, we have hundreds of thousands of bright young people who want to go to college, who are qualified to go to college, but can't go to college for one reason. And that reason is their families lack the income. That is wrong. Now, 50 years ago, when we talked about public education, it was great to talking about free education, first grade through 12th grade. The world has changed. Today, a college degree in many respects is the equivalent to what a high school degree was 50 years ago. And that is why I believe that when we talk about public education today, we've got to be talking about making public colleges and universities tuition free. We've got to be talking about substantially reducing student debt. Now, people say to me, well, Bernie, that's a great idea, but it's expensive. They're right, it is expensive. But I'll tell you how we're going to pay for it. When the greed and recklessness and illegal behavior on Wall Street helped destroy this economy, Congress bailed them out. I believe that we should impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. It's Wall Street's turn to help the middle class today. This campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community. And what they are saying is they are tired of living in the shadows, living in fear. They want comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. And they are right. That's what I will fight for as president. And if Congress does not do its job and pass comprehensive immigration reform, we're going to use the executive powers of the president to do everything we can. Now, I want to mention to you just briefly some of the differences in this campaign between Secretary Clinton and myself. Number one, Secretary Clinton thinks that the appropriate way to raise money is to have a super PAC and raise $15 million from Wall Street, raise millions from the fossil fuel industry, and millions more from the drug companies. Well, that's not the way we raise money in our campaign. Our campaign, up till now, unbelievably, has received over 5 million individual campaign contributions. Fossil fuel industry, but from ordinary Americans. Anybody here know what our average contribution is? $27. To paraphrase Abe Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. As Congresswoman Gabbard just told you a moment ago, Secretary Clinton and I have some very different points of view regarding foreign policy. The most important foreign policy decision made in the modern history of this country was the war in Iraq. I listened to what President Bush and Vice President Cheney and all the rest had to say on that war. I believe they were not telling the truth. I voted against that disastrous war. Secretary Clinton heard the same evidence. She voted for the war. Thirdly, when you talk about the decline of the American middle class, has a lot to do with trade policies. I believe that corporate America has got to start investing in this country, not just in China and low-wage countries all over the world. I have opposed every one of these disastrous trade agreements, which have cost us millions of decent-paying jobs. Secretary Clinton has supported almost all of them. That's a real difference. Now, you know, the American people are angry, and they have reason to be angry. They're working longer hours for low wages. They're seeing almost all new income and wealth going to the top 1%. What this campaign is about is creating an economy that works for all of us, not just the people on top. This campaign is about taking on Wall Street and the big money interests. This campaign is about understanding that climate change is real. That climate change is caused by human activity. And that climate change is already causing massive problems in this country and around the world. Now, we have a moral responsibility to future generations to have the courage to take on the fossil fuel industry and transform our energy system. This state of Florida can help lead the country in solar power. We can move toward wind and other sustainable technologies. Now let me connect some dots here and show you what a corrupt campaign finance system is. There is almost no Republican, and certainly no Republican candidates for president, who have the guts to come before you and tell you exactly what the scientific community is saying. And the reason that they do not have the courage to tell you that climate change is real and caused by human activity has to do with the corrupt campaign finance system. Because if they told you the truth about climate change, on that day they would lose their campaign contributions from the Koch brothers and the fossil fuel industry. And I say to those Republicans, worry more about the future of this planet than your damn campaign contributions. Now, a lot of Republicans go campaigning around the country and they talk about family values. I want everybody here to be crystal clear what they mean by family values. And what they mean is that no woman here today, no woman in Florida, no woman in the United States, according to their family values, should have the right to control her own body. I disagree. What they mean by family values is that our gay brothers and sisters should not have the right to get married. I disagree. When I talk about family values, they're very different values than Republican values. My values are ending the international disgrace of the United States being the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. I don't want to see women in Florida giving birth today, having to go back to work in a week or two, separating themselves from their baby because they don't have the income to stay home. That's wrong. Now, I have been criticized for thinking too big. Well, I plead guilty. I think this is a great country, and we can do a lot better than we're doing now. My Republican colleagues believe that at a time when millions of seniors, and many in Florida, are trying to get by an $11,000, $12,000 a year Social Security, they believe we should cut Social Security benefits. Well, I've got some bad news for them. Not only are we not going to cut Social Security benefits, we are going to raise Social Security benefits. A senior citizen, a disabled vet, can't make it on $12,000, $11,000, $13,000 a year. A great nation is judged not by how many millionaires and billionaires we have, but how we treat the weakest and most vulnerable people amongst us. We will not turn our backs on Americans' seniors. We're going to stand up for them. Every major nation on earth, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Holland, Scandinavia, Canada, you name it, every one of these countries manages to provide health care to all of their people. Now, I have been criticized for saying this, so let me say it again. I don't want any misunderstanding. I believe that health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. The Affordable Care Act, and I'm on the committee that helped write it, has done a lot of good things, but we can do better. Today, 29 million people have no health insurance. Many others are underinsured with high deductibles and high co-payments, and we are being ripped off by the pharmaceutical industry that charge us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. And then to add insult to injury, we end up paying much, much more per capita than do the people of any other country for health care. That is why I believe we must move to a Medicare for all health care system. Now, let me tell you something that no other candidate for president will tell you. And that is that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do what has to be done for the working families and the middle class of this country alone. Can't be done. And the reason for that, and I hope you all understand this, is that the power of Wall Street, which has endless supplies of money, the power of corporate America, the power of the corporate media, the power of wealthy campaign contributors is so great that no president alone can stand up to them. That's the truth. The only way that we bring about real change in this country is the way that change has always occurred in America. Real change never takes place from the top on down. It's always from the bottom on up. Whether it is the right of workers to be a member of a union, that took place when millions of workers stood up and fought for that right. Whether it is the civil rights movement, when for hundreds of years, millions of African Americans and their white allies said, America will not be a racist, bigoted country. And change took place when people stood up and demanded end to segregation and racism. 100 years ago today, women in America did not have the right to vote, could not go to certain schools, could not do the jobs they wanted. Change for women's rights did not take place because somebody signed a bill. It took place because millions of women and their male allies said, in America, women will not be second-class citizens. If we were here 10 years ago and somebody stood up and said, you know, I think that gay marriage will be legal in 50 states in this country by 2015, the person next to him would have said, what are you smoking? Which is a whole other issue. But, again, this is how change takes place. The gay community and their straight allies said that in America, people should have the right to love and marry the people they want, regardless of gender. What's my point? My point is real change always takes place when millions of people look around them and they say, you know what, the status quo is not acceptable. It is not acceptable that women are not treated equally. It is not acceptable that we have racism in this country. It is not acceptable that gay people do not have the right to marry. We're going to change. And that is where we are today. It is not acceptable that we have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth. It is not acceptable that we are the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee paid family and medical leave and health care to all. It is not acceptable that we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. It is not acceptable that we have veterans sleeping out on the street when people want to give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the wealthiest 1%. It is not acceptable that millions of people in this country are being crushed by outrageous levels of student debt. It's not acceptable that when the scientists tell us we have a short window of opportunity to transform our energy system, that we are not moving as aggressively as we should. Now, what do we do to change it? What we do to change these things is to make certain that we have a government that represents all of us and not just wealthy campaign contributors. The way we change this is when millions of people begin to get involved in the political process in a way that we have not seen for many years. Every person here today is enormously powerful if you choose to use your power. If a couple of million students tell Washington, D.C. that they are not going to spend their lives paying off student debt, trust me, Congress will make public colleges and universities tuition free. But that does not happen unless you tell them. When workers tell Congress that they demand a $15 an hour minimum wage, we'll get it. But it won't happen unless workers stand up and fight for it. So what this campaign is about is more than electing a president. It is making a political revolution to transform our country. And you are a part of that revolution. What we have learned in this campaign, having won 9 states, is we do well when people come out to vote and there are large voter turnouts. Let's win here in Florida on Tuesday. Come out to vote. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. That was Bernie Sanders, live from Gainesville, Florida. And we thought we had a feed coming from some other station, Jax 4 in Florida, but turns out it's Fox 10 Phoenix again, sponsored by Bill Luke Dodge Ram. I'm just going to give them their credit there. These guys have been bringing us Bernie for a while now. They're out of Phoenix, Fox 10 Phoenix. They've been bringing a lot of Bernie Sanders rallies, and they've got that lower third down there. Do you feel the burn? Tweet thoughts to let's at Samaya Fox 10. Let's everybody go there and say thank you. Follow them because really thank you. Guys been bringing us. Are you feeling the burn? Fox 10 Phoenix? Seems like you are. So thank you so much for doing that. So that was that. We obviously have a newsroom we're supposed to start here in 4 minutes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to end this right now. Not a lot of fanfare. We're just going to go out. I'm going to create the event on politicalrevolution.tv, and that's where the newsroom is going to be. So join me over there, politicalrevolution.tv. And I know there's a problem with the channel homepage. Some people say that the event doesn't show up and they don't get notified. The best thing I can tell you right now until I can get in there and do some administration on it is to subscribe to both Bernie 2016 TV and politicalrevolution.tv and turn on notifications. That's all I can tell you. Yes, it's a cheap ploy to get you to subscribe to both channels so that you can get news. Whatever. So we'll be over there on politicalrevolution.tv. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about last night, how Bernie absolutely crushed Hillary Clinton, and how establishment media is having no choice but to go, all right, Bernie, run. But I'll show you the amazing array of ridiculous establishment media headlines and statements they're trying to pull out to make it look like Bernie somehow did not win last night. It's amazing the shit they are spewing. And apparently we have an event coming up in Kissimmee? I don't know how you guys want to pronounce it down there in Florida, but that's coming up at 3 p.m. Florida time, noon Eastern. So we'll probably run with that. Looks like we have a local feed that might happen for that. But as you can tell, these local feeds are kind of 50-50. We have no idea what Jax 4 was doing. They never showed their feed. And we ended up getting this one from Fox 10, which wasn't even one of the 3 feeds we were monitoring, because this is Phoenix. So it's always a gamble, folks. You never know what the hell is going to happen. And hey, everybody. Yes, crushed badly. I'm looking at your comments here. Good morning. Good morning. So rocking. Right, voter fraud. So there's so much news. Like I saw a story out, and I don't have it in my list, guys. I'll ask you guys about it in politicalrevolution.tv or when we go to the newsroom. Story about the Bernie Sanders campaign accusing Hillary Clinton of violating debate rules last night. Because I want to verify that story. Jesse, I haven't even seen the first of that story. I just saw it in a tweet. And so that's new to me. But we have all sorts of stories to talk about, crazy stuff going on. And yeah, Bernie's going to crush it in Florida. Florida's just going to be badass. I'm very excited about that. Regardless of the polls showing Hillary Clinton with some idiotic lead, we've seen what that means. Michigan, nah, there was no 20-point lead in Michigan, right? So, all right, we're gonna go out here. I'm just gonna cut it we'll start up another event, politicalrevolution.tv. Just Google it, politicalrevolution.tv. The URL redirects to the YouTube channel. All right, and we'll see you over there. Bye, everybody.